Ben, sit down!
I'm gonna, Jesus, I'm just walking. We get it, you're bad at line leaving, Christ.
Duck and covered.
Go see the back.
Ampersand, do you want the Discord?
Passports, yeah. There's your passport.
Where's Ampersand? Shut up, Emperor. Where's Ampersand?
Join the Discord, Ampersand. I sent you a link.
Boo!
Why can I jump so high?
Don't ask.
Lang lebe der König! Who's in there? Hurra!
Hey.
Reißen über alles!
Who brought the
Unit reinforcement, so
Lebe der König!
please take seats, take actual seats. If the seats get full, then you can just like crouch on them like this guy is.
I'm just gonna be up here.
Dubstep should be the only flag bearer since he's gonna be the color
You
guard
do it
for
one way, I do it the opposite way, like this. There you go.
Dubstep. You're supposed to be in the front.
Emperor should go.
Finally getting the right.
Gott schütze den König!
I can't play drum roll.
Hurra! Jetzt rechts, Kerle! Lang lebe der König!
Somebody play the Discord theme.
Gott schütze den König!
Don't worry, I have a gavel on my desk. Here, I'll give you guys a preview.
Adrian,
That sounds,
It needs to be more powerful, you know, just someone like.
Rocketeer, you can't be in the first two.
Can't be in the first two, boys. Unless you're the legal teams, you ain't in the first two.
Rocketeer, get out of the first 2 rows.
Okay,
Rocketeer, get out of the first 2 rows.
What is happening in the middle of this room? Why?
Guys, first 2 rows are reserved. First 2 rows are for legal team.
Have to leave.
Some of them have more than 2 people on their legal team, so we need 2. Please take a seat.
I am God.
So many admin announcements. It's like we're on a public line.
Fuck.
I turned them off. I can't see anything. Cinematic view.
You guys in a server?
You were left blocked upstairs.
Yeah, we are.
It's out of my face. Thank
Like
you.
a server for the trial or just
Yes.
fucking?
Yeah, it's
He's
the
got to
courthouse.
stand there holding his block the whole time
It's literally just
Yes.
called like the
for like 2 hours.
cold fast courthouse. Oh, sorry.
My middle finger's gonna break out through this.
That's okay.
It's alright, you're doing it for the court.
Sacrifice willingly taken. It's fine.
Is anyone
Can we do
recording
witch trials at some
There's gonna be
point?
far too many
Do we
people
accuse
here.
people of witchcraft?
I am.
We don't have any bodies of water. Well, there is the river. We could all go to the river and see if they float.
There's not gonna be enough room in this corridor.
The prosecution is here.
Alright, we're just waiting for the defense.
That's perfectly fine. I'll be in my chambers.
Hey, get out of
server?
Just go on the server list. You'll figure it out. If you're not part of courthouse security, you shouldn't be in the back. There's only 2 people.
Ah, my bad. Sorry, I didn't know what that room was about.
Come
I
on,
was trying to
Sue.
find great deals for Raid
Why are you in the back?
Hey, clear out. Get out of here, Elf.
Is it true that you get 50k gold, 50k silver for using your affiliate link for the Raid Shadow?
Absolutely. Make sure to click the link in the description.
Ah, thank you for the confirmation.
By the way, what server are we on?
Winner of this event will get
Just luck, you'll figure it out. There's no password.
Oh, no, there's no password.
by clicking on the link below.
There's like
and joining
30 people on it, so it should be towards the top.
on Raid Shadow Legends.
Wonderful. Where's Perfect, by the way? Is he here?
He should be here. I don't.
He needs to be here. He's a
he
fucking
norm-
witness.
He normally disappears for like half an hour after line battles and stuff, so give him a little bit.
I'll go find his dad.
I don't know really what he's doing for half an hour immediately after line battles, but. Well, I think we all know what he's doing, but we just don't want to admit it. Sure.
He's cooking dinner.
No, he goes, oh, I need to go get a cup of water, and then he ends up cleaning his house for an hour before he...
Cleaning, yeah.
So jerking off.
Dick.
Why aren't you doing patrols? You should be patrolling back here. Like Emperor. Good job, Emperor. Keep up the patrols back there.
Rifle drill in the back. What's this?
Don't break the doors.
And that's
Hello?
why I
Paid
good
said
money for that.
That's not
Good evening.
true, Mom.
Now we have to reset the map.
So we can still work
What
with this.
map
We
are
can
we?
I
work
have
with
no
this.
idea what's
Where are we?
going
We
on.
can work with this.
Attention gamers. The prosecution. Well, not the prosecution. Well, I don't know. The prosecution and the defense is now here, so we'll send out the ping, and we'll get started here within about 5 minutes.
We will just break the other door so it's easy.
We're going to now move to the courtroom VC. You're going to have to move yourself since I'm not going to drag 50.
So what you fellas think's better,
Nerd.
squares or hula hoops?
Oh my fucking god, that's a lot.
no.
Is everyone muted?
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, gamer.
Tamoose, you're here, what?
About to get muted.
Everybody up, let's go. You're not getting dragged. You have to do it.
But that's effort, man. What are you doing?
I better be getting a promotion, Spacey.
They do this.
It's fine, we'll just be quiet.
Yay.
It's
We'll be
fine.
respectful
Like
individuals.
Only
We'll
through
speak
me
very
can you
quiet.
achieve a power Spacey, what would you like us to spawn as?
I'll post it again. It's already listed.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna rummage through things, so can you...
There you go.
Can you
It's in admin messages. You should be a sapper.
I don't want to be a sapper. Fuck that.
What am I supposed to
Sorry. You're a sapper too.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Alright, let's get. Is all the like legal teams in the.
help.
Okay, you good now.
Yes. Legal
You,
team.
you should be sitting in the front, JRod.
Okay, well I'm spawning in right now.
Okay.
You smell.
It looks like for some reason Discord didn't. Discord decided to be retarded. So if you guys talk, you're gonna get muted. I guess that's how we'll do it. You can like laugh and stuff, but like keep it under control.
Ha.
How do we go
I
into
guess-
cinematic mode?
Same with in-game VoIP. If people are talking and like distracting, we'll just mute them in game. Soup is who I'm talking about.
Oh, look at those fingers over there.
Do you know how we go into cinematic mode?
I think it's like scroll lock. Yeah. A second thing. So if a witness is called to the stand, they'll stand up there. Jump force was turned up, so you are able to get up to here. So this is the witness stand. Jury's over here. Court reporter's over here. First two rows are recorded, reserved for legal teams. Creeps are supposed to stand and look through windows. All that. All right, we're about to get started here. We just gotta wait for the plaintiffs to get back.
I can probably try and fix the Discord for him.
Is that
Just give me
Russia?
some mod.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Taken.
We're still waiting on chat and Stu. At the beginning.
Clear, wait.
Now we're waiting on chat.
Court security, can you let me into the back room? Hey, court security, listen up, in the void.
Am I allowed to push the talk on here? Or non-push
What's gonna happen is I'm gonna like say all rise for.
Oh shit, my name is Navalman.
Out to the left and right of the thing and present your weapons and be spooky.
Ooh, it's dark.
And then I will walk out. And once I'm in there in position, you guys will come back to the entryway here, okay? Good? Alright. So, go stand by your doors again. Alright. Both sides are ready to proceed.
Yes.
I'm still waiting on people to load in, but yes.
Oh. Okay, well we can get rolling here.
Yes.
Alright. All rise for the honorable space. You may be seated.
Beautiful.
Alright. Thanks everybody for coming to today's court case. It is the 45E versus JRod. The 45E has accused JRod of the following crimes.
Oh, do you want me to say?
They have sued him of stolen valor, harassment, libel, disturbing the peace, high treason, dereliction of duty, willfully refused to perform his duties, and also accusing him of being a sexual deviant. So at this point, we would.
I believe the term is cuck.
Correct, the term is in fact cock.
JRod, how do you plead?
Is that an admission of guilt?
Not guilty on all charges.
Quiet down. JRod, how do you plead? Oh, not guilty. Okay, sorry. All right, at this point, we're going to go into opening statement. Each side will be given a 5-minute period to do open statements. They're not required to do the full 5 minutes, but they are limited to 5 minutes. You are allowed to walk around a bit as you're giving statements. Jury, please don't move. JRod, you'll get to do your first opening statement.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I have been charged with stolen valor, harassment, libel, disturbing the peace, high treason, dereliction of duty, and willfully refusing to perform his duties, as well as possibly being a cock. Gentlemen, these charges are false, and I intend to refute them all one by one. The easiest refute is libel and harassment, as at no point in the chat did I state anything to the 45E in a derogatory manner, as I respect them enough to not cause a fuss and deter possible recruits, as the definition of libel does apply. Rather, when an issue arose, I jumped into the Discord and talked to them personally, and then talked to their two leaders after the fact, rather than causing a fuss in the chat. One of them that I talked to, Major Italian Turtle, I consider to be an acquaintance, and the latter a good friend.
Court security, could you please remove this chirp from the premises? He is disturbing the court case. Okay, you may continue.
To counter the disturbing the peace charge, I was disturbing no
Maybe the new
peace, and the
channel.
45E was causing far more disturbance than I ever could in that manner. The argument for stolen valor is null and void because while I was not in control of all the Prussian forces, I was in command of my line of whitecoats, which will be made evidence with evidence that I have provided. The dereliction of duty, high treason, and willfully refusing to perform duties all hinge on the presumption that I had committed stolen valor. After all, if I was an officer, then I would not be disobeying orders, I would be giving them, which I in fact was. Once I present my evidence that the stolen valor charge is debased, then my actions to form a line and shoot the enemy were not in violation of any order. Rather, they were the orders given by me to fight the enemy as I saw fit. The call to charge was not given by me, and thus was not an order told to me, and even if it was an order by a fellow officer, it is no responsibility of mine to follow an equal's orders, and there is no precedent for such activity. Now, finally, to refute the most serious charge, the possible charge that I am cuck, I will explain exactly and plainly that I am single and lonely, and to be a cuck, one must have been in a serious romantic relationship in the first place, and me, my forever alone ass, has in fact never been in a serious relationship, so I cannot be a cuck.
Security, remove that man.
And so we will present this all through the case of this trial.
Rifleman on the top.
The defense rests.
Alright. Prosecution, you may give your opening statement. 5 minutes.
Give me a second here.
I love the security.
Alright. First of all, hello everybody. I am going to read out my full titles and full name for you guys here. My official name is the former Lord of Conan, former Colonel of the French Grand Army, Justice of the Holdfast Supreme Court, lawyer, former NCO of Blakefish, 45E Empress Dragoons Corporal, formerly Skipper of the Antilles, Vice President of the Healy Army, Legion de Shaquille O'Neal recipient of Perfect Names Presidential Medal of Honor, Raccoon in Hearing, overall huge Shaq fan, Stu, son of Stu the 19th, son of Stuart, Stu the 18th, descendant of Stuart, Stu, son of Emperor Ahua of France and Greater French Holdings. Now I'm going to continue with the rest of my speech here. So I am the lead prosecutor here for the 45E today. I'm joined by Taylor and Chet as my co-prosecutors here. I would like to start off by apologizing for earlier pushing back the case today, as I had family matters to attend to. Now for the case at hand, I would actually like to bring attention that the charges that we are trying to indict Mr. Rod here today are going to be slightly different. We're going to be charging him on the dereliction of duty, stolen valor, and being a cuck. Mr. Rod here has clearly broken the law of the land and has harmed many individuals in his actions, and I think that will be very clear today in the evidence that you will see, and it will be reasonable, or there's evidence beyond a reasonable doubt Mr. Rod here has committed the crimes that he's being indicted on, and I don't think anybody here at the end of this court case will be able to deny that fact. And I'm done.
Alright. At this time, the prosecution may bring forward a witness if they would.
We call 45E Major Italian Turtle to the stand.
Alright, Turtle, up to the stand, please. Stands up here, the top part of. Nope, right up there. Yep, right up there. Alright.
Good God.
Italian Turtle, do you hereby swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Alright. So prosecution, you may begin questioning the witness.
Alright. Mr. Turtle, so can you tell me the events that led up to the charge that happened on that line battle on that fateful day?
I can.
Alright.
It started as a quite an odd line battle with flags flying everywhere, crowd rushing forward. What I then remember is a quote by JRod specifically saying to "Get them, boys." We then charged at the cowardly British and their lines as they shot at us. When he made the decision to have the white coats in his line form to his right, as me and my brothers, not only my brothers,
Stay
but the
with me,
26,
Turtle. Stay with me.
but the 26 and the other public players in the line. He then had us charge directly at them, shooting at us, while his line sat in the back and watched us all die.
Okay. Now, can you tell me, Mr. Turtle, Was Mr. JRod wearing an officer's uniform? Or an officer himself? During this
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so? Okay. Did he deny, or did he refuse to carry out the order that was initially called?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Turtle. You may have a seat.
Wait. Turtle, get back up there.
Never mind. Go back up. Get back up there. My bad.
Cross-examine.
Alright. Defense, you may cross.
Good afternoon, Mr. Turtle.
Oh Lord, the humanity.
All right, first off, how are you doing? Are you all right?
I'm okay. Just a little shaken.
I understand. I understand. Now, can you please address this court as a whole and explain to them fully? Was myself, or my client rather, was he? Can you confirm 100% not wearing an officer uniform, or were you not paying attention?
It's a little bit blurry, but I believe he was not wearing an
Okay,
officer
so
uniform.
you believe he was not. Okay, that's fair. That's understandable. It was a moment of crisis. You might not have been able to see it. If I said instead that he
Lang
was,
lebe der König!
would you be 100% averse to that in your brain?
Lang lebe der König!
No, you would not. Okay.
Lang lebe der König!
I want to ask you a question.
Lang lebe der König!
Did you hear anyone
Das
else
ist mein
give an
Kanal!
actual order to charge?
I did.
Nein!
Okay, who did you hear?
I do not recall.
Cannot recall. But can you recognize that it was not JRod's voice?
Yes.
Okay. Can you acknowledge? Do you acknowledge that the order that was said to
Befehl
line to
ignorieren!
my right and fire? Can you acknowledge that that was JRod? Or you can. You can. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. At the point that you had started the charge, where was the enemy specifically?
I would say roughly around 40 yards.
When you got closer, say 20 yards, was the enemy still holding steady, or were they doing some sort of movement?
They were either charging, braking, or standing.
They were
It's a combination of both.
If I said that they were braking, does that make sense for the situation?
It does.
We're getting close. Okay. In that situation, when the enemy is running away, could you understand if a person would be thinking to shoot at an enemy escaping? Does that seem like a reasonable thing to do?
From the distance that the unit was charging, no.
No, not at the distance the unit was charging. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Once again, I just want to make sure. Are you okay? Are you all right?
I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Well, then, in the interest to not further distress any of our witnesses, the defense will rest on that.
Alright. At this time, you can maybe see it, Turtle. At this time, the defense can call their first witness.
The defense calls Mr. Sparky, aka Spark in the Dark, to the stand.
Mr. Sparky, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yeah, he said yes.
On job, bro.
He did say yes. Yes.
Okay, you may ask your question.
Oh, the humanity.
Thank you. Mr. Sparky, how are you doing today? Gentlemen of the court, I just want to make this aside important. Sparky is in fact lame. He cannot speak. However, I will interpret. Mr. Sparky,
Objection.
were you there at the day of the...
Objection.
What's the objection?
If the man can't talk and he is interpreting, I don't like that.
Very well. I will understand his lame speech. I will translate.
The objection's overruled. He can type in text chat as long as he keeps it brief.
Indeed. Mr. Sparky, were you present at the line battle in question?
Sit down, Stu.
He's a bit slow, eh?
Loading a cat in.
You are required to answer the question, Sparky. Text.
Sparky, were you at the line battle in question? Yes. Okay.
Oh my lord! No.
Security! Security!
Yes!
Oh, that's why.
Which one's the lock?
A piece of
My eyes!
Oh my god!
What the hell? He died right
Terrorists.
This would be a situation we would probably call order. Yes, there you go.
Remember.
resume position.
Now, Mr. Sparky, I'm going to ask you some questions. Number one, do you remember seeing me at this said line battle in the round specifically in question? Okay. Can you, for certain, deduce the rank, or rather, the class that I was currently playing? You don't have to say if what class it was. Yes, you can. Okay. So, I'm going to need you to explain
Objection.
the class that I was playing to the class. Or to the group.
That was not the prosecution.
Officer, you're saying under oath that I was in fact playing officer that round? Yes. Do you have other evidence of which you perhaps have provided to the defense in this manner? Yes, you have. Okay. So, if you were to say have taken a screenshot of me perhaps leading a line as an officer and then circled me in red, is that a situation that has happened? Yes, it has. Okay, very interesting. Anything else specifically of when you heard the call from me to line to the right? What was the enemy currently doing? Was it running away? Was it staying still? What was it doing?
Messed it up.
Lining to fire at the charge. Yes. So, in that case, would you see it prudent to hit shots at the enemy in an effort to save the brothers of that were charging?
He can't melee!
Yes, you would think that it would make sense. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for your time, Mr. Sparky. I'm sure that your fingers are, in fact, very tired at this point, so I will waste time with you, or continue to ask you questions. No further. The defense rests.
Plaintiff, you can now counter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I said stay away.
Mr. Sparky, I know you have to type in everything, so I will keep this brief. Are you, in fact, a part of the White Coat Regiment?
Can't move it, that's stupid.
Thank you. So that is a yes. He is a part of the White Coat Regiment. So, why in your picture
us hostage in the courtroom.
no one have any names?
You're lost.
Oh my god.
Get back inside.
In your picture that you have provided, there are no names. Oh, sorry. I read the wrong one.
That's what you get for trying to kill me, bastard!
Please hold it, guys. If you're gonna be killing out there, you're gonna get kicked from the server. Next person to kill who isn't supposed to be killing will be kicked.
Get back inside.
Okay, thank you. So, it was in cinematic purposes. Okay. So, with that being said, Your Honor, I would like to throw out that evidence showing that he would be a officer when in fact we don't have any names and we're going off a word of someone that's in his regiment.
Objection. Based on contextualization within the evidence and other screenshots, you can
Where
confirm
is this
that that is in
evidence
fact
listed?
In the evidence locker, Your Honor.
Let me review the evidence real quick.
Your Honor, you can see a line of people behind this said officer, of which are not in fact flag bearers, as the 45E instructed their men to go as. This clearly assumes that it's a separate line.
I have reviewed the evidence. At this time, I will post it in the antechamber, so everyone is able to view this information. I'm going to come to the conclusion that there is not enough contextual information to prove that this is in fact JRod, so this evidence will be expelled from the record. Witnesses, forget you saw this picture. I mean it, forget it. Yes.
Oh my god!
Jurors, forget that you saw it.
That is all, Your Honor.
Alright. You may take a seat, Sparky. Alright, this time the plaintiffs can call a witness.
Can I bring forward a piece of evidence instead?
No, evidence is after this.
Oh, okay.
Is perfect name here or no?
Is perfect name here? He does not appear to be here. Do we wish to subpoena him?
Can I ask a question? How much longer
Alright.
do I need to hold this flag?
For the rest of the thing.
We would like to call 45E, Father Crunch.
Crunch, please come with us.
Objection!
Your mom.
No, you're fine. Where's the stand?
He's just a child.
He's just a boy!
It's just a boy!
Up top.
Loaded,
Do you, Crunch, solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth? Do you...
As a priest and father of God, I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Objection!
Alright. Plaintiffs, you may question. Surgeon, could you please move? Where's that court security?
We're in the back.
Oh, they're
sir,
at the
looking at
back,
the
okay.
cannon.
Alright.
Crunch.
Sir, the security is not here, so I will help you.
Where'd the other jury member go?
Mr. Father Crunch,
I would like to report a missing
do
person.
you or have you had a sexual relationship
it.
with JRod?
Yes, I have.
Objection!
Thank you, sir.
Evidence for that.
Let's hope so.
He is under oath.
You ain't done this.
That's all, Your Honor.
Alright.
I'm
Defense,
sorry,
you
could
can counter.
the witness please repeat?
Exposed!
Quiet down, please.
I had asked.
What kind of sex was it? Wasn't sex.
Good kind!
Your Honor, can you please
He's a
get order
boy.
so I can question the witness? Father Crunch, are you in fact underage?
I am in fact underage.
Did he say he will? Wait, hold on. What?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
How many times have you and JRod, the defendant, met before? Under these sexual relations?
We have met many times on the weekends.
It's daylight NBC. It's not like...
And I would like to say that I feel violated by this man, and I...
Silence. You were not asked that question.
Thank you, Your Honor. That is all.
Alright, Crunch, please come back up to the front, and defense, you can count. Cross.
Mr. JRod, how old are you, by the way?
Hey, you can't speak.
Hold up. This is a cross-examination.
Emperor, please remove BB Vladimir.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Crunch. Can I call you Mr. Crunch?
You can call me Father Crunch.
Can you remember exactly when these relationships were? Can you please speak up, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is so
In Discord, Crunch. In Discord.
I'm not unmuted.
Unmute the boy!
Unmute him,
You're
please.
always
Unmute him.
Unmute
Unmute him.
Unmute Crunch.
Free my man
Please
Crunch.
unmute Crunch in the courthouse.
He's
Thank you.
just a boy. He's just a boy. JRod, you monster. Fucking not
He's not
free.
Gott
Might
schütze
be
den
because they're forcing push to
König!
talk in this channel.
Reißen über
No, they
alles!
aren't, because I don't know.
Gott schütze den König!
Someone
what's the
please unmute
problem?
him.
Crunch?
Gott für König und
I need
Vaterland!
the boy. He's up there.
Someone please
He's
unmute him.
unmuted.
König!
Thank you, Crunch. Thank you. Discord.
Can you please repeat the question, Mr. JRod?
Can you remember the dates of this incident? Perhaps the most recent incident?
I feel like the most recent
Nuts!
incident was a recent linebacker. I felt violated by that, but the most latest, first time this has happened was back when the white coats were very, very early in their stage of a regiment. He had me train his troops, but after that, I had sexual favors.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to need to ask you the date specifically of when that was.
I cannot say the dates because I do not remember the date.
Cannot state the date. Okay. Well, the issue at hand is that these charges are not of a nature that it directly pertains to this line battle. So I'm going to ask you again, about this cuckage. Do you believe that your relationship was close enough with JRod or my client to warrant a actual serious sexual relationship, or do you believe it was just a fling?
It was a serious, deep sexual relationship.
That's certainly false. But in your mind, you believe that it's true.
It was very vulgar and very
What the?
rough.
Whoa!
Interesting.
Oh
Could you say for certain that this was a "Daddy, I love him" situation that you have with JRod?
This was a sugar daddy and daddy I love him relationship.
Interesting. What sort of benefits did you receive from this sugar daddy relationship?
I have received sorry, that is sorry, I lost mine. But anyways, I have received I have received multiple rewards from JRod, including money and fame and clout.
Indeed. Indeed. Do you believe that these are commensurate with a voluntary sexual transaction?
Sorry, I'm 15 years old. I don't speak.
Are you aware that the age of consent in an area in which JRod was once pertained to, the age of consent is in fact lower than 15?
Well,
Objection.
Objection.
Objection. The age of consent in the area of court is what, Your Honor?
18.
Interesting. My apologies. I was using Napoleonic code. In that regard, do you believe that this situation then pertains to the cuckage as which interaction? The interaction of the sexual relationship to where then you have a sexual relationship with someone else underage and then I'm watching that would cause a cuckage, or are you in fact you're just a sexual relationship?
Option 1.
Option 1. Okay, so you were saying that you also had...
You're running out of time. 15 seconds.
You're saying that you also had sexual relations with another person. Can you claim that other person who you had underage sex with?
It wasn't underage. They were of the same age as me.
Who can you give a name?
Under his own safety and before he's not here, no, I'm...
Damn, I was gonna call him.
You
Alright,
are
in that regard, the defense will rest.
Gas.
You can go sit down. No crap.
Gas the juice.
Crap, misclick. Alright, defense, you can call your final witness.
We will call my client, a certain Stonewall JRod, to the stand.
Trouble if I shot Spacey.
Due to the fact that he is testifying against himself, he'll be permitted to speak in a form of a narrative, recounting the events. You can go up to the stand. Come on, you can do it.
Objection.
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot.
Jump on the side first and then do it.
Alright,
I'm sorry.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but...
Where is he, Hans?
So help me God. Yes.
Alright.
No, I didn't see it.
So you can now, you have a 5-minute max to tell a narrative.
Indeed. So, the situation that pertained itself was on this most recent Wednesday the...
No loading the cannon, sit down.
13th? 13th, thank you. That night, we were playing a game of Holdfast Nations. Particularly this third round, in which it was a snow biome map. I spawned in as an officer, and a number of my other men spawned in, not as flag bearer classes or as musicians, but as separate classes. A couple Freikorps, a couple musicians, well, 1 or 2 musicians, and then a couple of grenadiers. These men were then assaulted by a number of flag bearers bearing the 45E, and were necessary to keep their safety. I said, let us go pick up flags and attempt to blend in with the crowd so that way we might be able to escape. We then picked up flags, and you will see in, later on evidence that there is in fact multiple shots of other people other than flag bearers holding flags, of which are part of my line. And then we started moving out towards the enemy as a large group. I was not in front of this group. I did not know who was leading this group. I was actually out to the side,
That's
on the
a
right
lie.
side,
White
and in that
folks never
picture
push the
that has
enemy.
been thrown out as evidence. You'd be seated at, but
Fuck
since
you.
that's thrown out, I will ignore that. So I was moving out in a line. I heard a number of people make a number of calls and mockery and whatnot, and in which case I then said, join these stupid Prussian regiments. We do stupid, redacted, like this all the time. this was not, in fact, to actually recruit people. This was to deter people because I was, frankly, a little bit salty. We then engaged in the enemy near the fallen tree. And upon seeing that the enemy was closing the distance and was preparing to charge, in an effort to defend my brothers who were already charging because an order had already been given to charge, I formed my lineup to my right, out to the left side of the line, to attempt to get shots on the enemy, which we did, and started sending the enemy running back. The other people in the group then pursued the enemy, whilst I kept my line holding where it was, and then moved it out to the right side of the fallen tree to get better shots at the other people. And in essence, I was not, in fact, informed of any sort of charge order, and I heard charge, but I could not identify if it was an officer or not. And seeing as how I was an officer as well, there was no reason for me to make that charge. I instead made the call to hold and fire. Then afterwards, I was proceeded to be assaulted in chat for being a coward and for being a fool, of which you might be able to argue, but I was not, in fact, stolen valor or not an officer class. And in fact, I talked in the officer class afterwards, and they said they were kicking me out of the officer club, but I was, in fact, still in the officer club at the time of the incident, so therefore I was, in fact, still an officer. Thank you. That is my time. Defense West.
Dude, you got this.
Oh wait, can we question him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you're able to question.
Okay, I guess I'm doing that. Alright, Mr. JRod. Do you have any other evidence other than that one picture that has already been thrown on the
I have
board
multiple other pictures of my fellow Waiko brothers holding flags. There are in cinematic cases, however, and there is in fact a video of enemies charging where you can clearly hear my voice very loud and clear saying, line up to my right.
My question, Mr. JRod. But my original question was going to be any screenshots of the event, maybe of the scoreboard of you, or any screenshots that actually have your name above an officer.
There is, hold on, there is in fact a screenshot of the event that is in the evidence locker that would, well, no. It doesn't show a picture of me. It shows a picture of someone else. Never mind. No, there is not. There is not, in fact, a picture of me. You will have to take my word under oath.
Okay. Is there any other way that you have to identify yourself as an officer during this battle?
If you were listening to the audio recording, you can hear my voice very loud and clear. Now, while I would say that I am a loudmouth, I'm not nearly loud enough to be heard over the din of everybody else charging unless I had the officer volume turned up.
Okay. Mr. JRod, do you know if there's any other officers that were partaking as in the whitecoats? Like, as if there was any other whitecoat members that were in the
There was
class?
one whitecoat member also that was my second in command, a certain Armando Salazar, who was taking a position as an officer. And in fact, I believe in one of the screenshots you can see his reinforcement symbol in one of the pieces of screenshots in the evidence locker. So if he was...
We'd like to acknowledge for the record that Armando Salazar is considered an enemy of the court.
While I do not consider him a particularly good friend, he was in fact my second during this event.
Okay. Well, it seems like I know which picture you are talking about, and I do know the picture that you were talking about. Is there any way that you can prove that he was your second, and that he wasn't in fact the only officer, and that you weren't going over his lead?
If you look at his rank, he is Whitecoat SDN. This indicates Soldat Novice. Soldat Novices are never given the order to command as an officer unless specifically requested by the consul of whom I am acting as.
See, you're fully admitting then that in a certain scenario where a high-ranking White Coast member, where a high-ranking White Coast member who was not playing as an officer ordered a lower-ranking member.
No, I was playing as an officer. I ordered him to be my second to also be an officer.
I'm saying hypothetically, could you technically over?
Not again.
I'm out of
Somebody ban him.
He's been banned.
Alright, hypothetically, could a white coat member who is not playing as an officer order an officer to do something? Yeah, that is it, actually.
No.
Okay, I rest my case.
Right, JRod, you may sit down.
Could I get a surgeon?
Surgeon? We had one somewhere.
They gave me all their Hello Kitty band-aids, sorry.
surgeon was the assassin.
Alright, so, oh, because you're on the wrong team, JRod. You have to get in one of them. So at this time, the plaintiff can have 5 minutes to present any evidence they wish to bring before the court. They had to be pre-declared, and they can display it and then also explain it. When you are talking about, please post it in the antechamber yourself so that everyone can view it.
Chet goes first.
Yeah, we're gonna have Chet go first here.
It's your time to shine, sir.
A French door.
Sit down. Shut goose.
What's up, Chris?
I would like to call to the stand JRod.
No,
We're already past that. We're doing evidence.
Oh, well, hell, go to evidence. The evidence does dictate that we are ringing the bell against JRod. JRod has dictated that he is not, in fact, a cuck. Yet he himself has stated an adverse reaction to this accusation. And I would like to present that evidence, if we could. Taylor,
Yes.
please present that evidence to the court.
Cuck.
You didn't get
One more time.
That I am a cuck.
JRod, is
That I
that
am a
you
cuck.
or is that not in fact your voice?
That I am a cuck.
He can't answer that question.
That I am a cuck. God damn it, you son of a bitch!
I'm stuck.
Oh man.
There is nothing more damning than the owning words of a man who states he is something that he is not. The hypocrisy of this statement falls upon the court and this jurisdiction. May I hear it one more time, just for the evidence?
That I am a cuck.
Hey, just letting you go sit down in the chair, that's why he killed you. He's bad.
Also, Your Honor, I would like to present the video. That is, can you post it? Or want
You
me to
can post it.
in the-
Yeah, post it. Antechamber, yeah.
In the antechamber?
Do you want me to explain the video?
Okay. Yes, you can. I'm just going to post it there. There is a YouTube video that is cowardice evidence.
Okay, so in this YouTube video, you can see. Here, let me pull it up here. As you can see, in this YouTube video here, actually at I believe it is 9 seconds in the actual recording.
45 seconds.
At 9 seconds in the recording, you can actually see very like blurry in the background. It actually says white coat Armandro Salazar in the back on that ping there. Which proves to you that JRod was not leading the line, as he did have that red dot there by Armandro. And this red dot would signify that Armandro had made that command, whereas JRod had... or that Armandro had already... JRod himself said on the stand that there was no way that a white coat or a lower rank could have made that order without a higher ranking white coat for making that order. So, by that design, if JRod wasn't an officer, he technically went over the officer that was Armandro in that scenario and went over the line of duty and disobeyed officers. I don't know if that made sense in English, but it did in my head, so...
Alright, your time is expired. Please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this time...
Hello? Yes?
What?
Sorry, I had to turn on God mode. At this time, we're going to take a quick 10-minute recess for everybody to take a break. I recommend you just stay where you're seated, but you have 10-minute recess.
Who's playing kickball with?
kickball.
We're not really taking 10 minutes.
The guy behind me.
Man, I drove to the full fest like.
I'll shoot right now.
Bro, how much longer? How much longer is this thing?
Literally just evidence now.
Playing Fallout 4.
Dude, how much longer is it?
Could only be like a couple more minutes once he presents his evidence and stuff.
Let him leave.
And then the jury verdict.
What's happening out here?
Okay, because I gotta go to bed soon.
Yeah, no, this is definitely almost done. Should be.
Definitely.
And also my finger's getting numb, so. Yeah.
Where's Ostro? Where's Ostro?
Sliding ghost.
You like that?
Can I start the motion to ban Spitfire, please?
+1. Anyone who tries to load the cannon will get killed.
We can't.
Just start kicking people.
Well, I can kick them.
Oh yeah.
In the future, I make a motion for this to be a closed off and password protected server.
Sounds like a very smart idea.
Heavy +1.
Hey! Get away from that.
JRod is a pedophile.
Get away from the cannon, look at kick. Easy as that.
Figo.
Stay away from the cannon.
Can I have some?
Yeah, you can. Take a few.
The party has officially started.
Thank you. Turn up.
We just need someone looking at this.
Figo, go free corp.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that him?
Those are some big ass grapes, dude.
Not me.
Oh, sorry, Crunch.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some grapes as well,
This is
bro.
no. For the
Why are we killing people?
Come here.
No.
Okay, now the party has started.
This is killing shot.
They have security.
As a member of the jury.
Sounds like you just need to get better.
Oh
God damn it.
Hans!
I'm having flashbacks.
Flashbacks of love.
Vietnam fan flashbacks.
You're never too young for a Vietnam flashback.
Exactly. I'm just gonna stay on the cannon. No one can get me off this thing.
Hey, bastard!
That's a nice pet rock you got there.
Everybody fucking chill out and stop being a douchebag! Captain, let's move this can just away.
We can't move the cannon.
Shut the fuck up! Set your ass on a seat! God! You guys have seats. Don't get one.
Do you want to touch my?
Get back in your seats, gentlemen. Get back in your seats.
Don't you guys have phones?
That penis doesn't look okay. Can someone check on him? It's a nice rock.
Thank you.
Well, I'm taking a piss.
Spacey, are we ready yet? Was it 10-minute recess? Oh, he's actually taking 10 minutes. Like, he's actually fucking gone.
Yeah, I was about to make a motion to cut the
Fucking get this done? Yeah. Let's call this a day and get it over with.
I was gonna say this shit should
Well, I
be
still have to present my evidence to the contrary.
Yes, that's what I mean. Your evidence and then get this shit done.
Then the jury's verdict.
Which jury I hope doesn't take that long. Jury.
Effective security force.
Which could take up to hours. Or minutes.
I'm very disappointed.
I can't even speak in Discord or look at the jury chat. What is this?
Sounds like you're not a real jury
I would
member.
like to move to kill
please.
45 members.
Where'd the other jury member go?
Discord. I don't know. For God's sake, this is a fucking court. Are you kidding me? Why would you do that?
Hey,
Do you want to touch my rock,
better back
Emperor?
up, Chief. I got a
Stay
shovel
back.
in hand.
You're trying to kill the
Security.
judge.
Bring it
So
over
you
here.
can use that as a weapon against the audience. I suggest
Security.
You're trying to kill the judge.
Jumping.
Security.
Jump,
Oh, damn it.
He's not allowed to
Hey, can they bring the rock?
What the hell's going on?
Security.
This man's trying to kill the judge.
If only we had a janitor with his bodies.
What?
If only.
Yeah, let's see that rock. Whoa, what a beauty. Wow.
Oh, Gubsy. Hey,
It's even better in person. Let's see
I can't kill him.
you want to see my rock?
You can't kill him.
Proud of you.
Back up.
Thank you.
He's a Frenchie.
Hey, I'm having flashbacks.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that one.
Never let go of her. She's something special, Gubsy.
Kill this guy right here.
Judge is dead. Get this guy. Get him.
Get him.
The judge is dead. Long
Cease
live
and
the judge.
desist! Cease and desist, damn you! Get away from him! Get away from him!
I'm gonna use my Second Amendment right!
Order! Hold, damn you, hold!
Sit your asses down.
I can't
Sit down, sit down! Court's back in session. Court's back in session, sit down.
This is a fucking mess.
Emperor, can you kill this BB guy when he's in my seat? You know, he's not a plaintiff.
the public trial. From this position. Remove yourself.
No walking on set. Everyone sit down now.
Sorry, man.
Don't have to get down anymore.
What the f***? Oh, frick, my disco died.
Please take your position. If you are not sitting, you will be kicked from this. We are missing a juror.
I was there, dude. Like,
We've been missing one for a while, I'm gonna be honest.
Is it Soup?
Yeah, I'm playing Fallout 4. What about it? Listen, Hold Fast overheats my PC. I already overheated it once. I'm not going through this shit again. Paying attention, but I'm also doing Brother of Steel Quest.
Alright.
Can we get a motion to subpoena this man and get a warrant for his arrest, so that he can come before the jury?
Counsel, please approach the bench.
All of us, or just one?
All of us. So you guys want to subpoena the third juror?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, we'd like to force him there.
He is alive, he's just not in the server.
It is Soup, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We would like to issue a warrant arrest for Soup.
Alright, take a seat. At this time, the court is issuing a subpoena for 26F
Soup.
Corporal
Soup is
Soup.
Jones.
If he fails to present himself, he'll be subject to demotion in his home regiment.
You fucking suck.
We will give him 5 minutes to return. At this time, JRod may present. Wraith, you are not an official court security officer, so please change your unit.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present the same piece of video evidence to the trial, or to the court. In this case, if you go later on to about halfway through the video, if you play through the video, you will hear in the audio someone shout out loudly in my voice, line to my right. Now, you can clearly hear that person above the din of everybody else shouting and screaming. And in that case, the only way that somebody can be honestly that loud is to be able to have the officer parts. Now, if you have not, in fact, been aware of this, in my previous statements, when I was on the stand, I explained how an older officer can, in fact, instruct a secondary officer to be their second in a line, which means that the second will either go as a cannoneer or as an officer. In this case, I told Mr. Salazar to go as an officer with me. That way he could place the lines down and get an understanding of how playing as an officer in the white coats works. However, he was not the primary officer in charge. He was backing me up, which is why you see him towards the back of the group, towards the back of the tree, in a position in which where none of my white coats would have been unless they were at the back of the line. All of my white coats you can see in the video are forming up on the right side of the tree, facing towards the camera, and you can already see them forming up. And in that line, I'm behind that line, calling out to form to my right, and then I step behind the line. So, if you watch this video, you will find that in the contextualization of this situation, all of the points that have been brought up previously are in fact false, and I was in fact, as an officer, as other people that have been brought up before, as Sparky and other people can attest to, am in fact an officer during this event, and was giving commands as an officer should. Other than that, the other evidence that is contextual, as you can see pictures in cinematic mode, unfortunately, but you can see that whoever this officer was towards the back of this group. There are other pieces of evidence as well, not just that one that
What's
you've
the
thrown
objection?
out.
That was thrown out. He can't bring that up.
You cannot
That's
use
not
that
the one
evidence.
that I was referring to.
Oh, okay.
I was referring to the other.
Sorry. My bad, Mr. Rod.
Indeed. Here, let me bring them up really quickly.
Mr. Rod.
You have 1 minute.
So I'm going to bring up just one here. This situation, you can see a couple of names. However, in this case, you just need to see that there are a number of people. Hold on.
He's building another chair.
There are a number of people in this line that you can see that are not, in fact, officers or flag bearers and have picked up these flags. That is because from the beginning, I told them to go and get flags because they were part of my line. And in fact, in the back, you can't see his name, but that is in fact Salazar following our lines. So, in that respect, this is the evidence that I provided. It's not in fact compressed or compact, but it is the evidence that we have. And in the future, I will be now recording every line battle so that this situation does not happen in the first place. But that is all the evidence that I have to provide.
Just
Alright.
remove the chairs.
At this time, both teams have presented witnesses and evidence. Hopefully the jury has paid attention faithfully to this. At this time, we will begin closing remarks. Closing remarks are limited to 4 minutes. After that point, the jury will be excused to the back, and they will make their decision. It will require a 2-to-1 simple majority. If they cannot...
3 of us, or 2.
Well, the third one's coming. His hold fast needs to get fixed just to verify. It'll take 2 of them to convict. Should they fail to get 2 juries to convict, he will be innocent. So the plaintiffs will be able to close first.
Alright, I think I will close for us here today. I think the evidence is pretty clear. As you can see from the video evidence, there's actually only even one officer in the bottom right by JRod's line there. You can actually only see that there's only one officer dot in the bottom right of the mini-map, which kind of disproves that there could even be a second. Armandro was leading that line until...
Objection.
No.
This is a closing argument, sir.
There are no objections, sir.
What was the objection? You can't object, but...
No, fair point.
Okay, so as you can see, there's actually, I can only make out myself personally, only one officer blip in that mini-map on JRod's line. I think it's pretty clear today that JRod admits that he had been issuing orders, and I think it's pretty clear that JRod's actions today, especially the voice clip that we heard earlier that proved that he's a cuck, I think it's a pretty clear indication that Mr. Rod here is guilty on all charges, and I don't think that this evidence is doubtable. I think the evidence is all clear. I don't think anyone in their right mind could see that Mr. Rod here is innocent. Again, you guys have seen the evidence yourself, and I think if you are a sane and smart person, you can see this evidence clearly indicts Mr. Rod here on the claims of being a cuck and dereliction of duty, as well as stolen valor and trying to impersonate an officer. And that's all I have for you guys today. And I just would like justice for what has happened in this line battle.
Thank
and
you.
also sit down. Whoever is sit.
Guards, please enforce order in the rear of the jury. Defendants, you may now come.
6, sir.
4 minutes. Good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, a number of different
Get
false
inside,
pieces
sit, or
and
kick.
points have been made
Last
throughout the
warning.
case of this trial. First off, an important case about this cuckage thing. You will notice from that evidence that it says that I am a cuck. Not, in fact, just the word I am a cuck. Had they clipped it properly, it would have said I am a cuck. However, because they added the word that there, that, in fact, adds to the sentence that there could have been a preambulatory clause, not simply just an operative clause. Had they properly cut this, then the evidence would be proper. But it cannot be presented now. Now, another thing about this cuckage thing, I would have had to, as a cuck, what a cuck is, you would have to have watched a sexual act happen between a significant other as well. And seeing as how, for security reasons, Mr. Crunch did not want to bring up the name to me, the person who was supposedly watching the thing, clearly he knows that I do not know this person, so I cannot be a cuck by that one technical definition. On a separate note, I did not have sexual relations with that Father Crunch. On another note as well, officers cannot lead from behind the line. I was up towards the front of all the lines, but I was not in fact the singular man up at the front of the line, and I was not the one that was dictating everything. Also, my white coat brother, as he stated, that I was in fact an officer class, and he could confirm that. Turtle could not confirm whether or not I was an officer class, so I don't see why you can throw out one statement of evidence, but continue to hold another. In this case, gentlemen, I believe that I am personally being attacked on this front, and I will say this right now to the court. All right, I am fighting for my life. This is my life. This is my life.
Relax. I'm sorry. I got a little over.
The king is dead.
You still have 30 seconds.
Free R. Kelly. Free R.
The
Kelly.
judge is corrupt.
All right,
We are free.
you can gang up on me if you like. You can wrestle me to the ground and shout insults at me until you are blue in the face, but you will not break me. I am not a weak man, nor a liar, nor a scoundrel. I am JRod. I thank you for your time.
Death to infidels!
Alright. Turbis, you're not kicked.
Who did not? Where is he?
No, don't kick him.
The defense rests.
Alright, we had to deal with that.
If you so strong, what's your bench?
So, at this time, I would like to thank
420.
both the offense and the defense here for this great court case. I will now excuse the jury to head to the back room to deliberate. They'll be given a 3-minute window. At that point, they will each individually send me a PM.
There's a piece of ice and it's stuck in the bottom of the cup. I'm trying to get it out.
No, do that later. After the end of their 3 minutes, they will each individually send me a private message saying if they believe he's guilty or not guilty. At this time, we do ask that you all be respectful.
Point of
and stay quiet.
or point of judicial inquiry.
What's that?
Must they come to a consensus?
No, 2/3.
Oh,
This is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal.
interesting. Yes.
So I'm just gonna move down.
This dude didn't even realize he was in a civil court case.
Imagine.
Preponderance of the evidence.
So, jury, you probably should be deliberating back.
For half of that, I wasn't even paying attention. I was
Excuse me?
Bradley, move the jury to their own room, please.
You know, I would have to sort through 50 people to find them.
Your Honor, can I partake in a Catholic service here while we are waiting?
No, that's heresy.
He's Catholic. Let him do it.
I'm sorry?
Sorry.
He's dead.
Hold up, jury! Please move to a different chamber. Like
you guys
the
can't talk in
something.
voice.
There you go. God.
That's easy.
Where
Well,
did he
very well
touch
done.
you, Crunch? Where did he touch you?
Where is he?
L. Ron Hubbard.
Guys, please resume your
Talking
positions.
Catholics.
FBI.
Sorry,
I
I'm a
swear to God, I'll beat
Baptist.
your fucking
Back to your
asses.
seat.
I'm sorry, I'm a
Back to your
Baptist.
seats.
So I
We're
kind of.
Prussians. We're good
He
Protestants.
hates Catholics.
So you guys shut up so we can hear ourselves.
Whoa, sorry, dude.
Kanye converted Italian to Catholicism.
Lang lebe der König!
Jury, you have 2 minutes.
Lang lebe der König!
I will not be silent. Respect the court.
Keep him on this side. Last keep him set.
Gott schütze den König! Nein! Reißen über alles!
Chet, can you stand up so I can sit in your lap?
Lang lebe der König!
No.
Lang lebe der König!
Thank you.
Off the counter.
Lang lebe der König!
Get back here.
Hurra! Reißen über alles! Hurra!
Emperor, you
Lang
don't
lebe der König!
Yes, we would like to thank the security team, Emperor and Hans. They are both keeping all of the troublemakers out of the server and employees. Why'd you kill Jim? Don't kill Jim.
Permission to kill him?
No.
He's a cop.
Free R. Kelly! Lang lebe der König!
Let the fucking
Reißen über Lang lebe der König! Lang lebe der König!
Thank you, Daddy
Don't
Chet.
touch me. Black power.
Lang lebe der König! Lang lebe der König! Lang lebe der König! Hurra!
Gosh darn it.
Alright,
If
the
the
jury
glove
should
doesn't
be
fit,
returning.
You must acquit. If the
Guys,
glove doesn't fit, you must
Take a seat.
acquit.
We'll be reinforcing the rule if you're not sitting. You will be just
Lang lebe der König!
just so we can keep this orderly.
Look, I'm just chilling with myself. Look at this.
I'm waiting for Soup to send me the message. Soup, send me the message.
Kiss. Spacey, why the fuck am I muted? I'm on the jury.
I think he's typing it.
You have to send me a message.
I am, you cuck.
Send me the message.
Oh, he called him a cuck.
Which one of you? Which one of you?
Actually, I think I'm doing myself a ton of favors.
Actually, no, I'll just read it out. Hey,
Y'all can't wait for the book, can ya?
Silence. Alright. At this time, the jury has presented to me their valid vote. Due to the fact that they are Pfeifers, we will not grant them the right to speak on their behalf, so I will speak for them.
That's good.
In the
His vote doesn't count now.
Damn,
In the matter of 45E versus JRod, the jury has voted 3-0 that he is guilty on the charges of cowardice and
We voted both ways.
Stu,
Wrong.
legal security, please take Stu into detainment to the back room, please. Please take Stu to the
That's a
back
load
room.
of horse shit.
This is
He's been,
bullshit.
please let me finish. He's been found guilty on 2 of the charges. He's only been found guilty on 2 of the charges of sexual immorality and of cowardice. He's been found innocent on all of the charges. We will now be transitioning to the... Stu's been found in contempt of the court. He will be reprimanded to execute by firing squad following the end of this trial. So just stay back there. Alright. So now I will be sentencing JRod. JRod, please come up to the front. In front of me, please.
JRod is innocent.
Yes, sir.
I want you to face out.
Unban me.
Everybody, you can. You know what? I want everyone who's on the right row to go after him. The rest of you stay. Bring him back.
Where you at?
Alright, he's dead. Come back.
Gotham is dead.
That was boring.
Guys, we got. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Was that what's gonna happen?
Alright, take a seat.
Why isn't he guilty?
So, JRod,
Stu got carried out in the back.
you've been found guilty of 2 charges. For the first charge of cowardice, I'm hereby sentence you to admit that you are a coward.
In the particular instance which we are discussing, yes,
In that instance.
I, JRod, was in fact a coward.
And
Not happen again.
in the mention, in the case of the sexual immorality, which you have been found guilty, you are hereby ordered to admit to your sexual crimes, and you are to remain 50 meters from Crunch at all times.
Yo, I smacked that fat ass.
Yeah.
I wasn't a
Catch some ass, smoke some grass, boys.
Alright, you can come back. You can come back.
There is a poem.
Alright.
No, he's got a poem.
Yeah,
Sounds like a suicide note.
Yes,
This is a list of the sexual actions. Eat me, beat me, bite me, blow me, suck me, fuck me, very slowly. If you kiss me, don't be sassy. Use your tongue and make it nasty. Thank you.
Don't forget the 6
Thank you, you may be seated.
That's a suicide note.
Guys, quiet down, please. At this time, I'd like to thank the jury for their service. They may now go take a seat. At this time,
My legs are sore.
we would like to thank everybody for coming to this court case. In exchange for that, I'd like that everybody to please come line up behind me, the officer, as I'm walking up. Just start forming a single file line.
Alright, cucks, I'm out of here. They're not smart enough for this.
Form a line, guys.
People cutting.
Oh
God, no!
Lots more votes, no coconuts, boys.
Oh shit!
That would have been
Well, it's okay, I
bad.
missed.
Alright, guys, in the line, come on. You can. Anyone not in line will be and harassed for being a minority. Alright.
Thank God, not on my
Everybody line up to my
No
right.
coconuts.
Line up to my right,
sounds
please.
familiar.
Line up to my right, he said it. That's from the court
That's a
case,
good one.
guys.
Funny reference.
Please form a line.
we're gonna get lined up to be shot.
You guys, yep, you guys can run to get in line if you'd like. Just make the line. Hold your fire. Everybody, please present your weapon. At this time, I'd like all jury members and JRod to step forward and face the line.
Hold up! Whoa!
Firing squad!
No, get out there. Get out there.
Half of us are firing blanks.
Alright. Spitfire, get out there.
It was very brave.
Alright.
I'm pretty sure your cocktail doesn't count.
Spitfire needs to get out there, please.
For champion.
Alright. Everybody quiet down, quiet down.
Good to be with you, Sam. At the end of all things.
Spitfire, I'm scared.
Can I be moved next to a different person?
Fire.
Yeah!
Thanks everybody for coming to this. At this time, the court case is over. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. If you'd like to see more court cases, please file court cases. There should be YouTube videos coming out of this in the future if you'd like to rewatch it. Make sure.
It's a real institution, and it's recognized.
Also, I'd like to tell you guys, if you know a regiment leader, you should try and convince them to recognize this court. It does help us in our endeavor to tyrannize the whole thing.
In crunch, you're gonna have a little
I don't feel 50 meters.
I'll be there as a witness.
I can shout. You know how loud I am.
This is true. Very well
Alright,
done to
guys.
everybody.
But guys, make sure DM Hay Bills to tell them and to recognize the court.
Disband!
I'm gonna move down to the antechamber, so
Thank you, Chad.
oh, recess VC, recess VC.
Seems like court is adjourned.
Yes.
Away from me, cock.
Somebody played that clip of JRod saying, I am a coward.
It was a good game, and I had a ton of fun. But I swear to God, if I hear that shit in game, I am going to call you out on it.
It's being deleted, bro.
Thank you.
No, 100%. I was just using it to play
I was here
it.
like just 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, you should have edited it to remove the that I'm.
Oh, I did.
That's what made it great.
That's true. Also, though, if you do get within 50
very
meters
well done,
of
JRod.
crunch, I will react.
That was fun.
favorably.
I want 50 meters apart from me. And
Legal team, I'm gonna pull you down to the
We never had any sort of sexual relationship.
That's a lie. I remember.
The court said
The
otherwise.
court has been, you know,
by your own
Whatever.
Crunch for raping.
My thing is that I don't fucking remember it. So did you drug me or something?
No, you drugged me.
It's okay if you drugged me, but I really wanted to remember that. Like I would have loved to know that.
Crunch is Bill Cosby.
Exactly.
Whoa, ladies, please! I can't hear you all at once.
I can say in detail of what happened past those. The first time it happened, it was right after the training of me training his fucking.
Okay, well we're gonna start getting into Me Too territory here, and I don't want to get into that, so I'm just gonna yeet on out of here.
We are already.
Are you all standing in solidarity? Doesn't matter. Why?
If you're innocent, why are you leaving?
Oof, dude. If you're not a
If you're
cock,
innocent, then why are